And welcome to Reach Out, brought to you by the Aid Foundation. I'm Poppy Champlin, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Ron Paolino, and again, welcome to Reach Out.
Yep.
Poppy, I know you've had an interesting weekend this weekend. I was fascinated by what you told me about your trip. Can you kind of maybe help our viewers understand what I'm babbling about here?
Well, I was just saying what a great weekend I had. The weather was great, and I went out to Block Island this week.
Block Island, it's a great place, and especially this time of the year, needless to say. We have so little summer here in New England.
Yeah, right, exactly. But the clouds were like so perfect, and the blue was exquisite. And it was just, swimming and eating lobster. I mean, I really did a New England type day,
Boy, you just got me with the eating lobster. If there's one thing I love, it's to eat lobster. And we have the best cold water seafood, I think, here in New England and in Rhode Island, and some great people to prepare it on Block Island and right here in the city as well.
Absolutely.
Besides eating lobster and the great seafood fair and everything, what else was going on in Block Island this weekend?
Well, let's see. Block Island this weekend. Well, my brother actually was out there in his band. He was playing at the Twin Kittens or Yellow. It was some club out there. Mm-hmm. So that's why I went out there. But it was so expensive to stay. I don't know if you ever try and get a hotel out there?
No, I didn't. No, I haven't. Not recently. Not for a long, long time.
It was
anyway.
like $300 to $500 to stay in a hotel.
A month?
Yeah, I know, exactly. That's what it should have been, a month. For one night, I'm like, wow, we're just going to ride bikes and beat feet,
For $300 to $500 a night, I'd need them to offer me some kind of, I don't know, something else besides just accommodation, I'm afraid.
Yeah, like become the senator of Block Island or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Senator of Block Island, never thought, maybe I'll run for that next year. Do they have such a thing?
They do. And then, so I went in the ocean, and I almost went skinny dipping because it was way out on this, where the lighthouse was.
Trying to scare the fish, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh?
And so I went into the ocean. And then, you know how you want to rinse off after you've been in the ocean. So
I've never done that, actually, Poppy. What do you mean rinse off after you've been in the ocean?
Well, because you're kind of salty, you get a little bit sticky, and we're riding
bikes. I love that
bikes.
feeling. I mean,
we were riding bikes, and we went picking blackberries. It was just amazing. So anyway, then we see this freshwater pond. And my friend Sandy, she's like, why don't you go in the freshwater pond and rinse off?
Excuse me, you're on the beach with a girl named Sandy?
I know.
Perfect, Poppy.
That's funny.
It's my co-host. Anyway.
So we're riding bikes, and we get to the freshwater pond, and she's like, why don't you go on in? I was like, that's perfect. I'll rinse off. So I go in, I swim. It was fabulous. I see my brother a little bit later, and he's like, you went in the freshwater pond? I was like, yeah. He goes, it's full of snapping turtles. I'm like, what? Can you imagine?
Good thing you didn't know. Probably you wouldn't have gone in there.
I wouldn't have gone in. If I had known there were snapping turtles, no way.
Excuse me, but in case a lot of you have noticed over the last few minutes, or maybe the last segment, my co-host here, Poppy Champlin, is an extremely funny lady. And she is a stand-up comic. Is going to be doing.
It's true. Don't hold it against me.
I certainly don't. It's a joy to have you here and so on. Such an accomplished comic. You had a Showtime special at one time.
It's on, still running.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And it's a half-hour segment of Poppy Champlin.
Well, I can't take all of it. There's 4 of us on it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's hosted by Bruce Valanche.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's 4 of us on it, and I'm at the end, so I'm headlining it. So yeah.
And how long is your segment of the show? Roughly?
I'd say about 9 minutes. 9 or 10 minutes.
That's a long time to try to be funny and to keep material fresh and poignant and so on.
And it was 500 people in the show, so I mean in the audience. So.
Yeah. Do you like that? Do you enjoy feeding off the live audience when they laugh? It's encouraging and stuff.
I love it. I love it. I can't, and I laugh too. I can't help but laugh when they laugh. And some have the theory of comedians aren't supposed to laugh when you're telling jokes, but I can't help it. If people are laughing, I'm laughing too.
Good. That's excellent. And you're going to be at the Comedy Connection pretty soon. Probably you've probably been there by now by the time this airs.
Yeah.
But you're going to be at the Comedy Connection. I know I'll be there, and a bunch of us here at the crew will be there.
Cool.
And I'm looking forward to a lot of your future things that you're going to be doing.
The Carousel Grill. September 24th.
In Warwick over there, actually right there across from the Carousel at Oakland Beach. Excellent. When are you going to be there?
Is that right?
When are you going to be there?
September 24th.
September 24th.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
And that should be a good show. Are you there alone?
No, there'll be, or will I be? I'm not sure. No, there's 2 other comics on. There's usually, comedy shows usually go 1 to 3 people, and so this one. So I'll be headlining that.
I've never asked you here on Reach Out and on the air How did you start, Poppy? How did you get involved? Whatever made you decide I'm a funny person. I'm going to be a stand-up comedian?
Well, it's college. I went to college at the University of Rhode Island, URI. And I got into this show called Oceantics, and we were all fish, basically, and I did a fish stick. So
A fish stick? Wow.
So I was a stand-up fish.
A little totter, and we're off and running.
You got it. It's exactly. Kelp, is there a sturgeon in the house?
Wow.
Yeah, migration.
Oh.
It really smelt.
Oh.
Yeah, it makes you feel scrotty.
Oh.
And it went on and on. I did like 135 puns, and people were dying. They were like, just, you can't fathom.
I know the feeling. I'm dying right now.
But and I just realized that to be a comedian as a job, to make money and to make people laugh is like, wow.
I think I agree with you. I think that I dabbled in it a little bit in the past myself, nothing to the degree that you've done it, and because I wasn't that funny.
Well, you got to be a little masochistic too.
I think that. Well, see, that was my niche. If it was masochism, just being up there and being abused by the audience, I was perfect. But they wanted me to make people laugh too, and unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards for me. So I kind of stopped that and met the people here at the Aid Foundation, and here I am.
Well,
I had to get in front of the camera one way or the other.
Well, the thing is, giving back to your society and where you came from, and the Aid Foundation is a great place for that.
Well,
and setting it up for
the things that we do are attempting to do here with the help of our viewers, particularly.
Yeah.
I should mention, and I try to do this on every segment, and just so our viewers know, the Aid Foundation, we are all volunteers. Every person that's here gives their time, their effort, their blood, sweat, and tears. The Aid Foundation, we don't, no one is paid here at the Aid Foundation, and for example, right now, I'll give you folks something. You know what that is?
Wood.
That's opportunity knocking for our viewers. The opportunity, maybe if you have some non-perishable food or clothing items that you'd like to donate and help us disperse to the Aid Foundation. Maybe you have some time, like Poppy and myself and some of the other people here, that you'd like to donate to the Aid Foundation to help so many great causes. And if you want to know what those are, rather than go on and on about it, just go to our website, www.aidefoundation.org. And we'll be more than happy. You'll be more than happy. When you find what we do there and all the different things for battered women and children and so many things that we try to help. But most importantly, if you have time, if you have money, if you want to help us help people that maybe aren't as fortunate as you or I, please contact us.
I think everyone is really always looking for a way to give back, and this is one way, definitely, and you can call in, you can go to the website, and you can find a way to get your food, your clothes, your money, your time to the Aid Foundation, and then, there's going to be a fundraiser every year. There's a big fundraiser, so you can get involved with that and just save up your stuff and get it out there. There's yard sales, there's, all kinds of things to raise money.
Cake sales, yard sales, that the ladies around here, besides doing camera work, sound work, and everything else, run yard sales and cake sales, and it's just terrific. This show won't be aired, but it'll be previous to when you see the show. But this Saturday we're going to our first annual community outreach fundraiser. You won't be able to go to this. It's already happened by the time this show airs.
True.
But it's going to be at the American Legion Post in Riverside, and I hope just by happenstance some of you folks wind up there to see us. We'd just love to hear from you. Poppy, myself, Ron Paolino, Poppy Champlin, and any of the people here at the Aid Foundation. We're quite approachable. Come up and see us, talk to us, give us ideas.
Yeah, and there's a couple more TV shows that we're going to start creating to continue the goal and the vision of the Aid Foundation, which is a big vision, which is it's green, it's solar, it's self-sustaining. It's great. It's really a great opportunity to be involved with.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's like most of the things like this. If you've ever done anything like this, folks, you know what I'm saying is quite true. It's not really what you give; you get so much back.
Yeah.
There's so much reward in doing the kind of work that we're trying to do here at the Aid Foundation, and we hope that you'll take that into consideration again with your clothing, with your money. Unfortunately, with your time, with your non-perishable goods, food goods, we have a soup kitchen that we support. let us know.
thing.
We'd love to hear from you.
And also, what we got coming up on the show, we do have a guest on the show, and you're very well familiar with our next guest, but we are going to be talking about veterans. And veterans these days are not just 80 years old. They are like 18 now and 19, and so it's going to be very interesting to have this conversation.
It's true, but as soon as you said that, I thought about my 88-year-old dad that I'm at the VA's with once or twice a week, and he's a World War II veteran, one of the few surviving World War II veterans is still around. I'm very fortunate at my age to still have my mom and my dad.
That's great.
And going to be bringing on a young man that I'm very proud of.
Cool.
In our next segment.
So stay with us, and we're going to be bringing on a vet.
I think you're going to love it.
Hey, welcome back to Reach Out, lovely show that we have going here. And my name is Poppy Champlin, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Ron Paolino.
Yes.
And I'm really pleased and really proud to be able to introduce to you today a young man, Staff Sergeant Anthony J. Paolino. If his last name sounds similar to mine, it's because he's my nephew. This is my youngest brother's son, Anthony. Welcome to Reach Out.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It's nice to have you here. Anthony's in the Air National Guard. He's an aviation specialist. And even more important than that in my mind, he does things with young men and mentors young men in different ways. And that's what we're here to discuss today. Anthony, why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how what you do for these fellas and what you do with this group?
Absolutely. Well, what you're referring to is we run a program here on Rhode Island. It's a nationwide program, but we have a chapter here. It's the Student Veterans of America. And what we do is exactly what you said. We kind of mentor some of the troops that are coming back home from overseas, or some older veterans as well that are looking to utilize some benefits that they have coming to them, trying to get degrees and maybe make a change in their career. Unemployment obviously being very high, our program does help bring some troops in, and they utilize their GI Bill benefits as a primary source of income. So you have a few different avenues that they take to come back to school, and that's really the piece that we work on, is the education. So we try to bring these troops home from overseas or coming back home from active duty, and the older Vietnam era veterans.
Now, do you find that the older guys want to go to school too? Or?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, and you have two reasons. One, the financial reasons, utilizing those benefits and the money that's coming to them. And number two is just a change. Some guys are maybe in a career or a trade they've been in for a while that may be not needed anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe just getting old for them and they wanted something new. So we do see a pretty good amount of those older era veterans coming back to school.
So when you first go into the service and you set up your GI Bill, does because I remember it was like when you go in, it guarantees you a college education when you get out?
Well, that's a good point, and there's a few misconceptions there. What it is you have active duty military, your guys that sign up to be full-time. They travel where they're told to travel, they bring their families if they have families. You have your National Guard guys who sign up to be back home, and a lot of those benefits that you're talking about is what those guys try to utilize.
Yeah.
With active duty, there's really not much of an opportunity to go to school while you're on active duty, because your 24/7 is to work on that base, to be deployable, and then to go overseas. That's your primary responsibility. With the National Guard, your primary is really your family, or if you're a young guy like myself that came in, it's whatever you want to do. Your schooling or whatever you had going on for a career back home. You just either you wanted to serve, and a lot of those guys do use that GI Bill benefits that you're talking about. So the National Guard guys can go to a state college for free.